What's good? It's your girl Amani Caesar. Smoke.
Boy, Dre, they forever, baby.
Brian Reeves, Director 70 times 7.
Man, it's your boy, Artist.
The girl Tasia's name. Girl named Masam.
It's Young Spook, one half of Back in Business Podcast.
Era, the Gap 2 Diva.
Are you Milan? Here, Milan.
It's your girl, Flaming Gina.
This Auntie P again.
Boy, Lou.
Ebony, aka Ebony with an I. I'm from the Big Head Radio Show, and I'm
With the King Teeth Network, huh?
That in itself is a win.
Yeah.
Not letting yourself be affected negatively by everyone else around you, that's success. That's winning.
Yeah. And it's the King Team Network. We are here getting deep already. We got Johnny Magic in the building.
What's up? What's up?
How are you, my brother?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Chicken for breakfast. I was on there. If you have not seen it, you should go catch that. That was a great podcast interview, and I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Now, it is my turn to ask the questions. But first, tell them where they can find you, and tell them all the other stuff that you do, because you're not just a podcaster.
Yeah, wow. Okay, where do we start? I go by Johnny Magic for a few reasons. Chicken for Breakfast podcast is a podcast I started a couple years ago. It's primarily on YouTube. That's our main source of how you get in traffic. We had Latif here on. And that was dope, by the way. That was dope. You were out there dropping jams, bro. You were dropping stuff.
I appreciate it.
So now we're on here. Shout out, doing a plug. I also edit videos. I do some DJ work. I work for a company doing like photo booth stuff. I am all over the place right now. And it's kind of a blessing and a curse, because it's like, yeah, you got a lot going on. Great for you. But it's also like,
Yeah, you got a lot going on.
burnt out. It's really hard to focus on one thing. So that's maybe not always the best, is not being able to hone in on a certain skill. But yeah, go check us out, Chicken for Breakfast podcast on YouTube.
Now, fellow host, fellow podcaster,
Yes, sir.
how are you feeling about the space? How are you feeling about being a podcaster?
Being a podcaster is, I think, overrated sometimes and underrated. It's overrated in terms of like, man, everyone podcasts, right? Everyone can do it. Everyone can take their phone, put it up on a windowsill, sit in front of it and talk, right? I think the definition of podcasting nowadays is like, it's a DIY, and anyone can do it. But it's underrated because those, like yourself, like myself, who, you know, we come into studios and we set up lights, we set up cameras, we set up, you know, audio gear. Like, I feel like it's so underrated because we get mixed in with people who just, you know, talking to a phone. And they're both dope, right? Like, the content is what matters the most.
Absolutely.
So podcasting is really dope. It's really fun, as long as you have the structure and as long as you have decent content.
Yeah. I think you have to evolve, because I started on my phone.
Oh, we all did, 100%.
And I'm not afraid to go back to it. I say that all the time in my head. I'm not afraid. Look, if y'all see one and it's a little bit blurry, hey, we got it in how we got it in.
Right.
Because we're not letting this train stop. But ultimately, you want to evolve, and you want to figure out how do the people professionally do it, unless it's just a hobby. And then that's to your point. To your point, it's like you're being mixed in with hobbyists.
Right.
And it's like, this is like my whole life. I do this every single day. Like, I wake up thinking about this. I go to sleep thinking about this. I'm making clips. I'm talking to people about, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm making a whole life around this. Like, let's not compare me to a person who does this once a month.
Right.
Because that's unfair to us on a day-to-day basis. So I respect that, because that is a great way to look at the industry.
Right. Because, like, it's a lot of work. It's not just, you know, sitting here and talking.
Nope.
Right? There's a lot of, you got to plan them out.
Before that.
You got to reach out to the people you want to interview. You got to do all your pre-planning, your post-production. You got to work around the studio schedule here. Everyone's shooting stuff. You got to find the time to do that. Then you got to coordinate everything. It's a lot more work than I think a lot of people realize. So that's where that line is how much work are you putting forth, and as a result, what does it look like?
Yeah, 100%. And I think this is more of a conversation that I like to have, because it's deeper than an interview, because we're doing it and
Right.
we're in it and we're in the industry, and we want to be like up there, top tier.
100%.
So what are your goals as a podcaster?
This is a wild question because I see myself remaining podcaster, but I know we've kind of talked about this before too. I want to move from the podcast space into just a content creation space. You know what I mean? So you would still have your
That's part of
100%.
the whole concept.
100%. Yeah. So chicken for
You're
breakfast.
doing everything like the DC world, like I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm a Marvel guy.
I'm talking about the guys on YouTube who make like the LeBron videos after they lose, where I forget what their name is, but they make like content. So they make like content, but they also have a podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get
Within
to.
it.
That's what
That's
I'm trying to
dope.
get to.
That's dope.
Because the more variety you have in your content, the more variety you have in your audience. And that is... And opportunity, 100%. And the problem with the industry is, like, there's a lot of things that people have already done. There's a lot of things people have already done. So it's not necessarily that it's hard to be creative, but it's hard to put a creative spin on things that are already there.
Yeah.
Which is why, going back to the podcast, like, everyone doing it, it's like, how do I be different? How do I do it different? But the space is go from podcasting to a more creative space. We just shot a chicken for breakfast commercial that we're gonna release. Yeah, you should definitely stay tuned. Check that out. It's gonna
That's
be dope.
fire. 'Cause ours is coming.
Oh, really? You got a commercial coming too? Oh, for sure.
We got a lot of promo stuff coming. That's why we're taking this break.
For sure. Like we did a couple of short films.
Beautiful.
One of those is on the podcast channel. So
It's on the YouTube
it's like
channel.
absolutely.
Short film.
Yep.
What's it
Secret
called?
Nights. It's called Secret Nights. Yep.
Is it all men in there?
No, actually.
Okay,
So
okay. I'm just
so
I'm not judging. I just want to know before I jumped in.
100%.
Okay.
I wrote a short film for the students at OMS. I wrote it for them to kind of put together, and I think it ended up turning out pretty well. It's like a 3-minute short film. It's really dope. But I say all that as in, like, that was fun to do.
Yes.
That was something different. Like, I remember that's my highest video because it was different.
Wow.
I have a documentary on there. That's my second highest now.
Wow.
View video, and it's not podcast, which is kind of like a bittersweet thing. You're like, man, all this podcast work, that's like 89% of my content, and these 2 videos are the most. So it's just understanding the analytics and moving into the space of just creativity.
Wow.
That's where you want to
But
be.
you kind of opened yourself up to like that being like the good thing about it. Like you do put something out there that's different, and it gets traction. So then you have something that's going to continuously be moving behind it.
Right.
That's kind of what you're doing. Exactly, kind of what I wanted to, because I have a short. I have a series that I'm doing, and what you're saying is very eye-opening, and I don't want this conversation to happen to be like, well, then, and it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning, because like we all have these ideas of how to expand and grow. Like I already have. Shout out to my boy Garrett, and he's getting married. Shout out to him. He's getting married next week.
Congratulations.
By the time this is out, he is married. He might be a month married in, but he is. Me and him collabed on and wrote a 10-episode, you know what I'm saying, web series. And that's going to be on the channel. But the way you put it, because I was always bouncing back and forth of, should I start a new channel for it? But the way you're putting it is the space, the analytics, they want you to have different stuff going on the same channel to build the one channel. So that's a great, but that's something you have to, you wouldn't know that if you wasn't doing it. You know what I'm saying?
No,
on
100%.
a regular basis.
You'd be like, well, this is a podcast channel. Do I want to verge away from that? Because then it's not a podcast channel.
Right.
Or at the same time, it's like, no. If you have a consistent podcast, but then you sprinkle in not podcast, you've got your consistency podcast.
Boom, you have your
but you're also
consistency.
grabbing people from, hey, check out this documentary, check out this sports-related thing, check out this, news-related thing, like check out this short film. Like you've got your nucleus of your original content, and then you've got all your extra stuff. And with that, you're keeping the momentum and you're gaining momentum.
Boom.
Consistency plus variation. So you're absolutely right. You would never know that unless you either did a lot of research or just did it.
Man, and that's what I want to ask you next, man, because I think a lot of people will be asking me, like, man, how did you start your podcast, man? Like, how did you get going, man? I have this idea, but I just don't know what to, like, how did you get started? Like, what made you just be like, man, I'm just going to go do it now?
So like I said, I went to OMS. We had to do it. We had to do a podcast. You know,
go to school, people.
Absolutely, absolutely. You had to do it, but it was only a month-long class. Like, we only had to do a couple extra.
Right.
But what was really dope is I did it, and I released it. And in the first episode that I had, I got like 50, 60 listens.
That's beautiful.
And it was the worst episode I've ever done.
Yeah?
It was the worst one. Because, like, your first one is always the best. Like, because you write the script, you want to make sure, like, I got to say everything.
Yep.
And then you read it, and it's like, hey, man, that was a really dope podcast, but don't sound like you're reading a book. And you're like, my fault. And they're like, no, it's great. So, like, from there, it started as a challenge of, okay, I need to make this better. I'm going to keep it going. But most importantly, like, I need internship hours. That was my main thing is, like, I need to stay active in the industry. Like, I can't just come in here and just do all the work and then leave with nothing to show for it. So if I do this podcast consistently every week or every other week or what have you, like, you're staying active in the field. And that's why I still do it. Because you don't always need a big project like a film. You don't always need a big project like a documentary. Come in and shoot a podcast. You're staying active. You're bringing other people into it. You're still networking. So I started it as like man, you got to do a podcast, but then you love it. You really love it. I'm not a solo podcaster, though.
Right.
It's really hard to do that. When I started, I was only doing solo podcasts.
Wow.
If you look at the channel and you go all the way down to the bottom, you'll see I was filming with my phone this way in a studio, and it was bad. And then I started filming it on my phone in my apartment, and it was, I look back and I'm like, that is so cringe. And that was way back when. So from where we were to where we are now, without that push of, hey, keep it going, keep making it better, keep cooking. That's our motto is what's cooking.
So how did that become your motto?
I don't know. The podcast used to be about something else, and then I launched season 3. I almost gave up the podcast.
Talk about that.
Man.
Well, we spoke on that before.
Yeah, we did a little bit. I almost quit on the podcast game because
2 seasons in, right?
Yeah, I did season 1, season 2.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think it was just there was so much going on, and it was like it's so hard for me to make content. Like I think it was after I graduated. I was like, I got no reason to be there. I got no reason to do it. Like it was like that transition between like I'm so lost right now. Like I don't have schoolwork to do.
Right.
All I got is real work. It's not even media. And it was just like, man, I want to be a video editor too. Like podcasting, it's just going to take away from that. So there was a time where I was like, no, drop it. And I actually had a friend back home who looked at me and was just like, why? It's like, it's not going my way. And he was like, so? It doesn't mean you stop. And that was like an eye-opener. I was like, oh, shoot. So I made this little, man, it's on the TikTok channel. I made this little talk about, I was wearing this shirt. I was wearing the chicken for breakfast shirt. And I was like, look, I can't give up. I'm going to do a whole new format, a whole new like theme. So we started calling it Chicken for Breakfast, What's Cooking? And what's cooking is because chicken for breakfast, you cook it and whatever else. And it was just, it was things I wanted to talk about more. It used to be about like the world through a 19-year-old's eyes. And it was like I would relate it to my time in Scouts. I'd relate it to just different life lessons. And it was me working through everything in my life at that time with a podcast. Right. And then it was like, man, why don't I just talk about something more fun?
Because it does get deep. I've been there.
You gotta have those deep episodes. You gotta have those.
You do.
Those
But when they
intimate with
become
yourself.
Every episode, it'd be like, God damn.
Yeah. Like there,
rough.
we used to talk about like success and happiness and respect
Oh,
and
man.
love and everything else, and it was like those are really dope. But like these are all heavy.
Heavy.
These are all heavy.
Heavy.
Yeah. But I'm enjoying the podcast life.
No,
we
no,
didn't
but you
quit.
didn't talk about the moment you walked us right to it, and then was about to pass it.
Right.
No.
Oh man.
Take us to that time. You had finished season 2,
Finished season 2.
and you had figured out. You had came to a crossing the road,
Right.
fork in the road. Shout out to our boy Ket.
Shout out.
And you had to figure out, and you was figuring out a change of direction. You wanted to make it funner. Like what was that time? What was that moment?
Well, I think even now, you some days you wake up and you're like, man, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
Like it's like the age 30 crisis, but like once a week. You know what I mean? Like you're like, man, why can't I be like this?
I don't know. At
why
20, I
can't
wasn't that.
Yeah, no.
I
Well,
wasn't gonna act like that. At 20, I was good.
Well, for me, it's not like I'm not happy where I'm in life. It's just like I want to be making this content. What's stopping me? I want to be doing this. What's stopping me? I'm doing too much. What's stopping me? Why am I not getting where I need to go?
Yeah.
It was really just, it came down to one simple thing, which is I'm not patient. I wasn't being patient. I wasn't letting the process work
Facts.
out.
Facts.
Was not letting the boat sail.
Facts. I was at that at 23. At 27, I'm still at that, but it's different. But
You're 27?
I'm 27.
You look great
Older.
for 27,
Yeah,
bro.
I'm older, man.
Dang, I thought you were like...
That's why I don't be doing
Sheesh.
all that. Yeah,
Sheesh.
I don't play around because it is no time for games for me. I'm about to be 30 soon. It is a serious thing. That's why I don't be playing. But it goes into like, but then things get too deep. And you do have to lighten it up, and it's like, man, you got to figure that. You got to find that balance within yourself. But you got to think. Like I started podcast. I came back from high school. I came back from college at 22. I started hosting at 22. So I've been doing this scene for the last 5 years of my life. So it's like,
That's crazy.
at the end of the day, like I started pretty young. I'm just now finding myself in the platform to make it a level of a career.
And
You know
I
what I'm saying?
think that's where I was kind of just... It took me a second to realize, like, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's
literally had to tell myself that every day at 22, every day at 22. It's okay. Like, you're gonna figure this out. Just keep trying, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, keep trying. Like literally, you're 20. Just throw shit at the wall. Like
Right.
literally,
Right.
throw the shit at the wall and see what the fuck sticks. Because whatever sticks at 25, you could take till 40. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
When I figured out this really could work at 25, I was like, okay, I can really create something for the next 20, 30. Now I'm thinking generationally. But at 25, I was thinking, man, I could do this for the next 40 years. Cool, I could sit here and just I figured that out. Figured that part out. Cool. Now how do I put everything around it to make it work?
Right. So you also built that nucleus.
Yeah.
Of here's this.
But it's in the mind first.
100%.
in
Yeah,
the
you
mind.
got to be in the right mind space to do everything.
So why weren't you in the right mindset
I don't
going
know.
into season 3?
I can't even remember. I'm like sitting here.
Was
I'm
the
like,
girl troubles? What was happening? You were like 19 and a half. What happened?
man,
There's a lot going
we're
on.
we're really about to get into
Yeah.
it. We're
Yeah,
really
we
about
are.
to get it. This has never been public before. This has never been public
Talk
before.
to me.
It might have been around the same time. I had been dating a girl for a few years. That ended horribly for me.
man,
You know.
Season
Crazy.
2 news, y'all.
Yeah,
Y'all
for
didn't
real.
know.
And I think that was the same time.
That
It was like
probably
right when I graduated. Yeah, it was right when I graduated. I was getting ready to start my new job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and then I just hit like the super. Like if you listen, there's not a video podcast on it because I was too ashamed. But there's an audio podcast on Anchor of me just going through it.
Really?
Absolutely going through it. I filmed it in my car. I was going through it.
Wow.
It's intense.
That's
it's really
classic.
intense.
That's a classic one right there.
Yeah, it's really intense. And
So you were going through it,
yeah,
and you thought that might be your last one.
yeah, for sure, man. Whew!
Man, ain't it
Woo!
crazy when you
That
start
is
thinking?
crazy.
Man, we blocked
They
so
were all
much
about
shit
the
out.
same. They were all about the same time frame. But I also had a lot of motivations behind the process. Like,
So yeah, what was the motivation that got you to where you are now? Because you wouldn't be on my show if you wasn't chicken for breakfast out,
right.
editor of the year. You know what I'm saying? If you just gave up in those moments and didn't push through them, you couldn't be here.
Right.
You got here.
I think one of my biggest impacts was my friend of mine, Andy, like my life mentor. He was a guy who just looked at me and he was like, "Why are you stopping? Like, you ain't got to do all that. You ain't got to, you've got something."
Come on.
And
out Scotty
then just through a conversation, I convinced myself through a conversation with him, and I was like, yeah, I don't know why I want to stop. Like, I feel like I should just keep going until something clicks. And he was like, well, there you go. Just do it. So for me, it was just like, we all have those moments where it's like you hit a little rough patch, and then you can choose to go either way with it. So for me, it was, all right, look, you can either sit here, give up, not go anywhere, or you can bounce back, keep cooking, grow, look back on it, and be like, without that, I wouldn't be here. Yeah. I think that's what happened too, because I'm happy where I'm at.
How long in that process did it take? Like, sometimes it could take us a couple days, a week, a
I think
month.
it took couple months.
Couple months.
Yeah.
So this is one of those groundbreaker moments for you.
Yeah, I think if you really go back and watch, you'll see the time frame.
Man.
You can see and it's so interesting. Yeah. If you go back to the beginning and you watch all the way through, you can learn just so much about me as a person and the podcast.
100%.
It's so insane to see that happen.
I've been to some of my biggest moments, and then literally that same day or that next day was interviewing her, was doing content that's out in the world right now. So yeah, I think it's powerful though for you to be able to know what you went through and how you went through it and you got through it and you're here now, man. That's dope. So let's get into the editing bag, man. What made you open up, and open up Premiere Pro for the first time or something?
Also, everything was at OMS. That's where I started everything.
Okay. So did you go to OMS right out of high school?
Yes. Yeah.
So
I
that
actually
that was the plan.
I started when I was 18 at OMS, like straight out the gate.
Straight out the gate.
Straight out the gate. And then as we're sitting there, I remember cutting up a 6-shot thing and being like, this is the dopest thing I've ever done.
Wow.
So every single project from then on out, I was in the same group of people. I was always the editor. I sat here and I would teach myself cool things. One thing I really taught myself was also because of the podcast. I was like, I got to learn motion graphics. Like, I got to make a title screen.
Yeah.
I gotta make a video demo. I gotta put this thing
None of
together.
that shit.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Y'all just get this raw shit. Ooh, wait till we get some editing, boy.
That's what I'm saying.
We ain't got none of that shit right now.
Yeah, it's everything is a learning process.
Yeah, man.
And for me, it was I'm investing a lot of time into my personal brand.
Yeah.
And now it's interesting because I'm at the studio.
Yeah.
So now I'm investing a lot of time in the studio.
Just had a 30-minute cutoff.
Oh, word?
I know we were hitting the time, brother. Because I want to talk about you coming into Studio Zero
word?
and working on the Yellow Spot and stuff like that.
Dope,
So
dope.
yeah, boom. You was talking about coming in. Now you start working at the studio. What is that about? How did you get in here?
Yeah, so then I started at the studio, and I remember coming in, talking to David, and David was like, yo, so where you at on your editing stuff? And I showed him my
David
demo.
Let me interview him.
I think he would. You should definitely
bet.
ask him.
Bet.
You should definitely ask him.
He's so quiet.
Oh, no, he's a really cool guy.
I talk to David all the time.
He's a dope dude.
I don't know how he's going to... I've never seen him in front of a camera.
He's been in front of a camera a lot more recently, I think.
Really? I know he wants to do a podcast.
Yeah. I'm trying to work him out with that. But, anyways, so I came into the studio and I showed David my my demo, and looking back on it, that demo is complete garbo. But that's with everything. And David was like, okay, so I mean, you got the basics down, and they gave me a project which was again, how I got into Ket's music, and I felt like it was the connecting point to everything here at the studio. I started working on promos for Ket, like the 15-second, all the motion graphics, all the cool titles thing. I don't even know if they ever went out.
I feel like they went on Ket's page.
I made about 100, maybe 150 of those.
Wow.
Like
That's a lot of
20,
practice.
30 for each song, and that was really dope. And then the next big project was the Yellow Spot.
Yeah.
And if you guys are not familiar with the Yellow Spot by now,
I know, right?
that thing is, I feel like that's my child.
Really?
I feel like that thing is my child because everyone shoots it. It's a great team behind it, but like the template
Yeah.
and just the
How you had to
graphics
make
and
it.
everything, it's like that was my assignment, was make this so that we can do this.
Yeah.
And then I made it, and every video, it's a dope series, man. It's a dope series, and I appreciate everyone who shoots it and puts the time into it. There's a lot that goes into it, and editing it it's really fun. It's really fun to not only hear the music of all the artists and to see all of these people who I've never met before in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I did not know that there were this many artists in the area at all. I would have never known that. So editing the Yellow Spot has taught me a lot about, I would say, one thing about consistency is you got to have that, but also it's helped with my passion of music. It's helped change the type of music that I like. And most importantly, I've seen how it's impacted the studio. I've seen how people are interacting with each other and how we're grouping together. And I know I've kind of said before, like, I'm moving away from editing the Yellow Spots, but that might not entirely be true because it's fun, it's really interesting, and yeah, it's a really cool project, I think, that we've done here at the studio, and I'm excited to see where it goes because I think that we're also getting to a space on that where, you know, we're adding things, we're doing things, and yeah. What do you think about the Yellow Spot?
Man, the Yellow Spot's a dope experience for artists. I think it's something that should continue. I think shout out to the team working hard every single time.
For sure.
It's growing pains and everything that has immediate success.
100%.
So just staying consistent, staying persistent on the format and the structure,
Right.
and the team, and sky's the limit, of course.
Right.
Now I want to ask you, because we wouldn't be here without the guy. Your introduction to Marquette and kind of what he means and has meant to your success and opportunity.
What an interesting guy.
Isn't he though?
Yeah, he's dope. Really quick, I also did want to shout out everyone here at the studio, because
By
this
name?
is like just
I
as
was
a
about to be like,
whole.
look, it's a lot more.
There's a lot of names. There's a lot
All
of
right,
names.
and if you miss one, I don't want to hear none of their
No,
faces.
for sure.
Like, damn,
There's
Johnny,
there's
you
a
don't
lot
mess
of-
with me. Nah, shout out to the team.
Yeah, shout out to the team. When I say, like, Yellow Spot's my baby, like, it's everyone's baby.
Yeah.
Everything here is everyone's child, and for me, it's really been a dope experience just being a part of something. And I think that's been a motivation for me as well, is
Yeah.
like, I came into this space, and everyone was just like, yo,
What you
this
can do?
dude
Let's do
is
it.
cooking. You know, or this dude needs to, pop in and show up, So back to Marquette. What's really interesting is I started working at the school. I started working at OMS.
Okay, before you met him.
Well, it's interesting because, before I met him,
Wow,
we
okay.
started at the same exact time.
Crazy, because I went there, but before he went there.
He and I started
He made
the
this
exact
so
same
much
time.
fun.
And it was kind of bittersweet for me because the reason I got hired was because of an instructor that I had. So that was dope. But then I showed up and I met Marquette, and I was like, oh, this dude is pretty fire. And then he was telling me about the studio. He was telling me about everything else. And, he's the reason I'm here. He's always challenging me, too.
Every day.
Every single edit, it's like, if you can't take constructive criticism, might not be the dude to talk to. Simply because he's
That's
a very...
a fact. Woo!
Well, and that's not a
Shout
bad.
out to Marquette.
It's not a
That
bad
is
thing at all. Yeah, that's not a
That is
bad
a
thing.
great thing that you need.
For sure.
Like, you need that.
If you have someone telling you that every single thing that you do is amazing,
You ain't gonna get nowhere.
you're never gonna be like, oh man, I
Or
need to
you
try
agree with
harder.
everything they say.
Yeah,
or
no, 100%.
They agree with everything you say.
Yeah.
That don't work.
Absolutely not. So
It don't
it's
work.
so I really appreciate him. We've had some really cool conversations, and I think he's really challenged my editing skills.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point where he was like, "Yo, listen, you don't get what I'm doing right now, but I know."
Right. The bigger.
He's like, "I need you to trust me on this. I need you to trust that I'm leading you in the right direction." So shout out to Marquette, man. Shout out to Marquette.
Every day, man. For real. You don't find too many people that are as willing to help as he is. So
For sure.
I mean,
For sure.
you can't beat that. Now, it's funny you asked me what I do at the end of my show. Now you get to do what I do at the end of my show. So it's called Get It Off Your Chest, and I just want to thank you for being here. I
Absolutely.
want to thank you for everything you do for Studio Zero, because what you do does not go unnoticed. I know as an editor, as somebody who puts out content myself, that part can get undervalued very quickly, but if you don't have that part, you don't have much but a whole bunch of clips everywhere.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
You are very, very important, and you are valued. So continue to know that, know your worth. Continue to rise to the occasion for chicken for breakfast, because we got to eat. So
For
what's
sure.
cooking? Some got to be cooking. So shout out to y'all. Go follow that Chicken for Breakfast. Y'all subscribe, like, comment, do all the great things that y'all need to do. But it's called Get It Off Your Chest.
Yes, sir.
What do you need to get off your chest?
Well, thank you very much for the for allowing me on. Thank you for the kind words. It's one of those things that sometimes you just need someone to tell you, like, hey, man, you really are. You're cooking. So I appreciate that. I was thinking about this today, and now that the moment has arisen, I'm not ready for it. I think this is the thing. If you watch a magic trick from behind, you're gonna know the secrets. So think about that in life. Perspective matters. I've just really come to realize that you got to look at it from all angles before you judge something or someone, and that's like a full circle, because this is what we were talking about at the beginning. It's like, you don't know that person's situation. You don't know how much time they have to do this or that or whatever else. Like, they could have a lot of stuff going on in their life, and you could just be like, hey, man, I needed a video from you and you didn't get it. And you're like, but I'm trying. And they're like, well, I don't need you to try. I need you to do it.
Execute.
And, like, you could have had, like, a death in the family. You could have had something crazy going on. So I think we all got to look out for each other. But more importantly, I think that all of those perspectives matter. Get the full story, but also don't spoil it for yourself. So I can't watch magic tricks because I know how they're done.
Johnny Magic can't watch magic tricks?
Yeah, I can do magic tricks, but I can't watch magic
Can you
tricks.
do a magic trick on our show? We've never, first off, y'all gonna see magicians on this show. I promise you, because I love them. Can you do a magic trick for us?
If I had a deck of cards, I would.
Does he have a deck of cards? He has a marker. Oh my gosh.
Dude, I can't
Oh,
prepare.
for the first time
I can't
ever.
prepare. I told you I
The
can't
first
prepare.
time ever.
All right, this is a normal deck of cards. You're going to love this. You're going to
I
love
can't
this.
wait. Let's do
All right.
this. All right, what
So
the
we're
hell
going
are
to
we
do the
doing,
whole,
Johnny?
this is a normal deck of cards.
All right.
This is going to be kind
This
of.
was not staged.
This is not staged, I
did
promise, I
not know
promise.
he had a deck of cards
Yeah,
in his
no, no,
pocket
no, no.
like that. I did not know.
I'm always ready. I'm always ready.
Wow, Johnny
So you're
Magic
gonna-
for real. Johnny Magic on Instagram. Y'all need to
For
follow
sure,
this
for
guy.
sure.
I gotta pick one.
Yeah, pick any card
You
that
sure?
you want. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Don't take the one I want you to take. Oh, he's got his eyes closed and everything. All right, so you go ahead and look at it. I want you to sign the face.
All right, I'm gonna let y'all know this one. All right, I'm gonna let y'all know. Y'all can't tell them no. Shh. You see what's going on? I gotta sign. What side?
The face where it's easier to read.
Y'all seen it?
All right, and then I'll take that card from you here.
Hold on, I sign it. I just put my name.
Yep. Go ahead and blow on it too, so the ink sets.
Hold on. I got you.
I'm just like over here looking at a wall.
All right, we gonna see what happens. I ain't editing shit out.
That's always the fear. Is that face down?
Yeah, it's face down.
All right, weird. That's always the biggest fear of doing magic tricks on camera. It's like, oh, he's cutting it.
Facts,
He's cutting a video.
facts.
I used to do,
This is
on my
raw.
old TikTok account, I used to do cool things. So you
Watch
actually,
them.
you put it in the middle, right? And then you give a nice little shuffle here.
Where'd it
Get
go,
there.
people? Because I lost it already.
Oh my, this is horrible.
Uh-oh.
This
Uh-oh.
is so horrible. This is so
Uh-oh.
horrible.
Uh-oh.
Those aren't it, right? Oh, I do see it. I do see it. All right.
Uh-oh.
Oh, shoot. Oh
I
my
don't think
gosh.
this is-
Ah. All right, we're gonna start this whole thing over. We're gonna start this whole thing over. Let's find your card. I'm so sorry. I fumbled.
Oh, Johnny, I don't know if I can put this part out, Johnny.
All right, that's yours. Okay.
This
Take
is
that.
mine.
Take that. All right, we're gonna take it from the top.
Okay.
So here's the thing about magic tricks.
Yeah.
Is like I said, you can't watch them from the back. So you put it in the middle like that.
Uh-huh.
You give it a nice shake. You do the whole shuffle thing, which I didn't do right, and it comes to the top, right? But watch this. This is about to be crazy. It wasn't actually on the top. All right, check this out. All right, this is horrific. Hold on to that card, please, and thank you. This ended horribly. I came prepared.
You did.
I did not.
You was prepared.
I did not execute.
But the
said
execution,
thing.
boy.
I did not. Okay.
The execution,
All right, hang
boy.
on. All right, we're gonna start over.
All right, we're going to figure this out. We got him on this one.
Totally
If you was
got him.
betting, you got him on this one.
All right, here we go.
All right, I got to
So
give you
I'll
this one
take
again.
the card face down. We're gonna pretend like we don't know what it is.
Okay.
If you watch this trick from the back, you'll know exactly how it's done. Your card comes to the top right here. Watch this. Hold out your hand like that. I'm gonna put that card there. Put your other hand on top so we can't see it. All right, this is where the magic happens. All right, so I take the next card down. 5 of spades. This is where it happens. All right, so the idea is, if I do this, what's your magical phrase?
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. If I just do one of these things, you'll notice the cards actually switch
Wow.
places. Yeah, that's the secret.
Wow.
That's the secret.
So that wasn't staged. I don't know what the fuck just. I did not move my hand, people.
That's the trick.
Wow.
That's the trick.
So you actually tricked us earlier.
I did, 100%.
So you actually did. Wow. I'm keeping this. This is my. No,
You gotta keep it. No, you gotta
good.
keep it. That's like
He actually got his people, because I don't know what the fuck just happened, but he just. You see, I ain't moved my hand? That's crazy. And I had this one too. We're going to watch it back. I ain't going to cut shit. I ain't cutting shit. All right, Magic. I was going to ask you how you got your name, but god damn it, it happened. Thank you for being here.
Sorry for fumbling there at the beginning, but it's all for the setup.
It's all for the setup, huh?
All for the setup.
Oh, man, it's the King Chief Network. We're out of here, because I don't even know what to do. My head is still spinning. Johnny, was that for real?
That was for real.
That was what you were supposed to do? You dropped them on purpose?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.